This podcast is produced by the Harwood Productions Podcast Network. To learn more about the network and to find more of our shows, visit us online at www.harwoodpodcast.com.
Well, who wouldn't love having this chocolate cream pie for dessert tonight? It's real easy to put together. Instead of a pastry crust, I use Oreo cookies. It tastes fantastic. Then I make a nice thick chocolate pudding, tons of whipped cream, and chocolate shavings. Now, a traditional chocolate cream pie has a pastry crust, but I like to make it with a cookie crust. Let me show you how I do that. I use my food processor and I get 16 Oreo cookies, and these are a chocolate sandwich cookie, and I leave the filling in and everything. And in fact, I'm using reduced fat Oreos, but you can use whatever you have on hand. So I'm going to take 16 of those and put them in my food processor. And then I'm just going to pulse these until they get nice and ground up. Now, once the crumbs are all nicely ground up and fine, I'm going to go ahead and take them and put them right back into my bowl here. Now, it's important at this point that you do check and make sure if there are any cookies that have gotten left behind. Just go ahead and take your finger and kind of crunch them up like this. Now, I've taken and melted about 2 tablespoons of butter, and I'm going to go ahead and put that in with my cookie crumbs. And then I'm just going to take a spoon, I'm going to toss those cookie crumbs up with this butter. We just want to moisten them. Now, as always, if you feel the spoon's not working, just put your hands right in there and kind of move it around like this. Now, these look nicely moistened. Now we're going to put them in our pie plate. Now, this is just a 9-inch pie dish, and what I'm going to go ahead and is just pour all of my cookie crumbs in the bottom here. And then I'm going to use my hand and I'm going to spread these out like this. And then I'm going to take a measuring cup and I'm going to go ahead and compress the crumbs into the pie dish. That'll hold the filling in there really nicely. Now I'm going to pop this in the refrigerator for about 10 minutes. I want that butter to start to solidify, and then we're going to put it in the oven. Now this is going to go into a 350-degree oven for about 10 minutes. Now this smells just fantastic. I'm going to set it on a rack and just let it cool for about 5 minutes. Now let's go ahead and make our chocolate filling. Now today I'm going to be using this chocolate pudding mix, and I'll show you how I put it together in a special way so that it makes the filling just a little bit thicker than regular pudding. But if you have a favorite chocolate pudding recipe, you can absolutely use that. Now, I make my pudding in the microwave. So I'm going to use one of my Corningware bowls, and then I'm just going to go ahead and put the dry mix right in here. Now, one of the things that's important with this chocolate pudding is we want to use whole milk. It gives a real richness. Now, on the package it does say use 3 cups, but I find that that doesn't make a thick enough pudding for this pie. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in 2 3/4 cups of whole milk. And then for an extra bit of flavor, I'm going to put in 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now all I have to do is whisk this together. Now the dry mix isn't going to totally incorporate at this point, but that's not a big problem. But just do, about 30 seconds worth of whisking, and then we're going to go ahead and put it in the microwave. Now this is going to cook in the microwave for a total of 8 minutes, but I do want to stir it every 2 minutes. Now after the first 2 minutes, it's going to look like this. We're going to go ahead and give it a stir. But by after 8 minutes, you're going to see that it's going to be nice and bubbly and starting to thicken up really nicely. Now I'm going to take our warm chocolate pudding and put it in our crust. I'm just going to use my spatula, pour this all right into the center, And then use my spatula to spread it all the way out to the edges. Now you can see by lessening the milk in the pudding, this has made a really thick pudding, and it's not even chilled yet. As it sits in the refrigerator and gets cold, it's just going to get thicker and thicker, which is going to make it really easy to slice. Now, to prevent the pudding from making a skin on top, I'm just going to take a little piece of parchment and I'm going to press it right down on top of the surface of the pudding, and then I'm just going to put the whole pie in the refrigerator. Well, you can't have chocolate cream pie without the delicious cream topping. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a cup of heavy cream, that's a half a pint, and I'm going to go ahead and put this in my mixer with the whisk attachment. And I'm going to let this start beating on a medium speed for just a minute or so. Now to sweeten this up, I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of sugar and 1 tablespoon of vanilla. So it's starting to get nice and foamy, so now I'm going to put it up to the medium speed. One of the things that I found is that when you are whipping whipped cream, if you put it on a high speed too fast, it doesn't develop the bubbles and the whipped cream tends to fall. So I whip it up slowly, first with a low speed, then to the medium speed, and now I'm starting to see a little bit of volume. There's some tracks in the whipped cream, so now I'm going to go ahead and put it on high, and we're going to beat this until this is a nice frothy whipped cream. So now you can see the whipped cream is nice and thick, just like this. It'll be perfect for spreading on top of the pie. Now, one of the things I like to put on top of my chocolate cream pie are some chocolate shavings, and here's how I do it. I get one of these large bars of semi-sweet chocolate, and then I get my vegetable peeler. Now, I'm working on a piece of parchment, and I'm just going to take my vegetable peeler, and you see on one side it's kind of got these squares. I'm going to flip it over to the smooth side, and I'm going to use my vegetable peeler, and I'm just going to run it right along the sides of the chocolate. And the flatter you can get your peeler, the thicker the shavings will be. They'll be just a little bit wider, and that's kind of what I want to get. Now, one of the things that's interesting about chocolate shavings is they have a ton of static electricity. Look at how they just hang on to my vegetable peeler. That's why I do it on this piece of parchment. Once the shavings hit the parchment, then they lose that static electricity. Now I'm just going to go through and continue running my vegetable peeler on this chocolate until I have a nice pile of chocolate shavings. So now I have all my shaved chocolate, and I'm going to go ahead and move it off of my parchment into a little bowl like this, because I don't really want to handle it when I'm putting it on my pie, because the warmth of my hand, the chocolate will go ahead and start melting, and I don't want that. Okay, so now it's time to put our pie together. So the pie is nice and chilled. I have my whipped cream and my chocolate shavings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that parchment off the pie, and I'm going to do it kind of slowly, and I'm going to use a knife to help guide that pudding back into the pie, because I want to leave as much pudding in the pie as possible. Then I'm going to take my big spatula, and I'm just going to pour all of that whipped cream right into the center of the pie. Then I'm going to use my offset spatula, and I'm just going to push that cream to the edge of my crust. I don't want it to go over the crust, because I like to see that nice dark chocolate crust and then see the nice white cream up against it. I think it makes it look really pretty. And then I'm just going to use the flat end of my blade, kind of smooth that out. And then it's just a matter of taking my chocolate shavings and sprinkling those on. Now, if you'd like to give this delicious chocolate cream pie a try at home, just go to our website and visit the Sweet World show notes, and I'll have the recipe there for you. And as always, if you have any questions, please feel free to send me an email. I'll see you next time.